Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to the top 10 strangest unsolved mysteries ever. Now, we all know a lot of strange things happen in the world, some of which we never get an explanation for, some of which are put down to aliens, whatever you like. But I wonder what some of these strangest mysteries could be, and what people, since they're unsolved, what people have attributed them to. Have they claimed it's aliens? Have they claimed it's something else? It'll be interesting to find out. So if you are new to the channel, you know what to do. And let's get into the video.
Number 10. The Circleville Letters. In 1977, residents of Circleville, Ohio began receiving threatening and harassing anonymous letters.
We're not talking about a couple or hundreds, but thousands of letters. They all had the same block lettering, and they would target politicians and leaders, but also just plain folks who had nothing to do with the running of Circleville at all.
The letters had very distinctive handwriting and contained accusations of embezzlement, affairs, and even murders. Ron Gillespie died under mysterious circumstances after receiving a phone call and announcing that he was going to confront the writer.
Was Ron Gillespie's death an accident? Was he really drunk that night? And why had one bullet been fired from his handgun?
His wife was nearly killed by a gun in a booby trap attached to a sign. It turned out that Paul Freshour, Ron's brother-in-law, bought the gun, and his handwriting was deemed to match the letters.
You know, I can't blame the jury because the jury didn't hear all the evidence. But I just couldn't believe it. I was really in shock.
Yet during his time in prison, people in town continued receiving them, even while Freshour was in solitary confinement. If Freshour was the writer, he wasn't working alone. We are writing this off as an unsolved mystery.
4 decades later, the debate over the writer's identity continues.
Number 9. Havana Syndrome.
Doctors said that diplomats...
Is that really unsolved though? It's surely... I mean, it's unsolved as to who was writing the letters, but surely it's just a copycat. Or someone that he knew. Okay. It's strange. It's a strange start. Let's see where this goes.
brain matter had actually changed. What started out as a mysterious nuisance became a suspected instrument of attack.
Since 2016, U.S. officials and military personnel have been experiencing strange symptoms. These include pain, ringing in the ears, as well as difficulty with cognitive processes.
A source says starting last December, the U.S. officials were exposed to a sonic device, which experts suggest could produce sound waves below and above human hearing, which could cause these symptoms.
Named for the location it was initially reported, the embassy in Havana, Cuba, Havana Syndrome has since been reported at U.S. bases and embassies in various countries. While some of those suffering from it have existing head injuries that could explain the symptoms, not all of them do.
The recording is just one of the many sounds taken in Cuba that led investigators to initially believe it was a sonic weapon.
Proposed explanations have included a psychogenic illness, the sound of crickets, or even a microwave weapon. While the CIA has concluded that most cases were probably not caused by a foreign power, 24 cases remain unexplained. Accidental or targeted, Havana Syndrome is yet to be fully understood.
Who or what caused it? A mystery.
The United States government is still not sure who or what is responsible for those health attacks.
Number 8. The Max Headroom hijackings. On November 22nd in 1987, the broadcast of 2 Chicago TV stations was interrupted. Both interruptions featured an unidentified man dressed as the British AI character Max Headroom.
Quarters finally did.
The masked man disparaged the local station he was interrupting, made several pop culture references, and got spanked by a fly swatter. The heavily distorted audio, rotating background, and masked man gave the hijackings an eerie, almost David Lynchian feel.
My brother is wearing the other one, but it's dirty. It's got blood marks on it.
The hijackers couldn't be identified, nor did they come forward after the statute of limitations on their crime expired. These broadcasts seem destined to remain as mystifying as their contents.
Take some pretty significant equipment, technical equipment, and some knowledge of broadcast frequencies, microwave frequencies.
Number 7. Salish Sea Feet. Since 2007, residents of Washington, USA and British Columbia, Canada have found some rather morbid jetsam washed up on their beaches. Detached human feet. Most of them were found still inside shoes.
Now you also have to consider whether or not this could be a serial killer, somebody who right now is underneath the radar.
But physical anthropologists caution that while the spate of discoveries was new and startling, public awareness could have prompted people to pay attention to stray running shoes.
Foul play has been ruled out, as most of the identified victims were involved in accidents or took their own lives. It's been speculated that the feet detached as the bodies decayed, and that the air pockets and buoyant foam in sneakers floated them to the surface.
Too many unanswered questions remain. Who do the feet belong to? Why are they always in running shoes? Could something truly insidious be at play in the region?
But it still seems extremely odd that there have been so many, and all around the same area.
There are still far more questions than answers. Are these cases connected? How did the people die? And how many more feet are out there still to be found?
Number 6. Roman jar.
That is a very good question. And why are they always in running shoes? There's something seriously dodgy going on there. There's more to that than meets the eye. That's too weird for me. I mean, yeah, could the feet have just detached from decay and then floated to the surface? But it's the fact that it's always running shoes, it's never anything else, is way too weird for me. I think someone needs to look into that. And they said how many more are out there waiting to be discovered. There could be thousands for all we know. I wonder if they've ever had a matching pair. You know, if it is generally decay, would they have had a matching pair? Did they ever get a matching pair of shoes? One left, one right. Could they have been the same people's feet? Could they have got both feet from one person? Who knows?
Bars in a Brazilian bay. The historical consensus is that the first European visitors to Brazil were Portuguese, who arrived in 1500 AD. However, it is possible that the Romans beat them to it. In 1976, several amphorae, or Roman jars, were uncovered from the bottom of Guanabara Bay off the coast of Rio de Janeiro. This caught the attention of archaeologist and treasure hunter Robert Marks, who explored the area further and claimed to have found up to 200 more amphorae. Experts dated fragments to around the 3rd century. However, the idea that Romans arrived before the Portuguese deeply upset many Brazilians, and the government banned underwater exploration. So the depths of this mystery remain unknown. Number 5. Gloria Ramirez's death.
There's one word that comes to mind there. Well, 2 words. Cover up. The fact that the government have banned underwater exploration, that's, to me, just suggests cover up. I mean, yeah, it might have upset the Brazilians to think that the Romans got there before the Portuguese, but the fact, if that is true, the fact remains that you can't hide that by banning underwater exploration. That's, yeah, that one's a bit sus to me.
While suffering from cervical cancer, Gloria Ramirez was admitted to an emergency room in California in 1994. While treating her, the medical personnel noticed odd symptoms, including a greasy polish to her skin, a strange odor from her mouth, and oddly shaped particles in her blood. Then, several of the people in the room began passing out. Overall, 23 people were affected by these strange symptoms, and Ramirez passed away, with the initial diagnosis being from kidney failure. The most common suggestion for Ramirez's apparent toxicity was that she was taking dimethyl sulfoxide, a home pain treatment, which, combined with several of the treatments, turned into an acidic substance. Another suggestion is exposure to methylamine, but no one knows for sure. Number 4, Trump family.
Did all those people die? That's what I want to know. I mean, it's strange that they all suddenly developed the same symptoms. Why did they develop the same symptoms? I suppose that's the mystery. But if Ramirez died, did everybody else die as well that contracted the same symptoms? Okay. That one's a puzzler. I would be interested to find out more, but I very much doubt we will. But yeah, that's definitely an odd one, that she came in with these very specific symptoms, and then so many people ended up with those same symptoms. It would be interesting to find out if they died.
Breakdown. No, Trump with an O. In 2016, Mark and Jacoba Trump took their 3 adult children on an impromptu road trip hundreds of miles north, leaving their house unlocked. Mark seemed convinced that people were out to get them and forbade phones. Their son Mitchell brought one anyway, but it was later thrown out the car window. He left, not understanding his parents' paranoia. Later, the daughters left too, stealing a car before splitting up. One, Rihanna, was found in a catatonic state. Ultimately, all returned safely, but no explanation has been given specifically for what happened. Whether it was shared psychosis or someone was out to get the Trumps, the case has fascinated the world ever since.
I thought at first that Trump had gone missing. I saw that when Trump's gone missing. I went, well, there you go. No. Speaking of delusion.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Number 3, Oakville Blobs. In 19...
Is that... I was going to say, is that so strange, but I'm not sure what to make of that one. I don't know what to make of that one.
1994, Oakville, Washington experienced perhaps the strangest weather phenomenon of the last few decades. It rained blobs. Strange goo fell from the sky over a period of several weeks, blanketing the town in ooze.
And it made people sick.
I got sick, my wife got sick, my daughter.
What's even more bizarre is that the residents experienced a widespread illness that lasted for several weeks too. So what could this goo have been?
Someone theorized that since the Navy had been conducting live bombing runs at sea, they might have blown up a school of jellyfish. And of course, this jellyfish would have been thrown up into the air and floated 50 miles inland, and over a period of 3 weeks, fallen 6 times.
Was it evaporated bits of jellyfish that reformed in a cloud? Or maybe waste from an airplane? The most troubling theory is that the event was a military experiment on U.S. soil.
Translation: germ warfare.
There are a whole mess of theories about this messy and weird weather. Number 2, the disappearance of Malaysian...
Right. First of all, it wasn't jellyfish that got blown up at sea and travelled 50 miles inland and fell 6... That's... No. That's... Where they've come up with that from. Whoever's brain that got cooked up in. And if people believe that, then just wow. There's no way. There is no way that that's what that is. And it made people ill. Why would raining pieces of jellyfish make people seriously ill unless they were just consuming the jellyfish as it fell from the sky? I don't know, but that's... If I was there and I saw strange blobs falling from the sky instead of rainwater, I'd just stay in the house. It's as long as you stay in the house, it can't get you, right? I mean, if you're outside when it happens, there's not a lot you can do about it. But there's no way is it jellyfish. Not a chance is that jellyfish. 50 miles inland that got blown up at sea? No way. No way. I'll be interested to see what you guys think that is. Because I genuinely cannot come up with a solution. I mean, they're unsolved mysteries for a reason, right? But I cannot come up with a solution as to what that could be. But I'm absolutely certain I can rule out that it's blown up jellyfish that have then flown through the air 50 miles inland. There's just no way.
Airlines Flight 370.
Families waiting for MH370. They still wait, and really, they don't know much more than they did that first awful morning.
On March 8, 2014, Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 vanished while flying from Malaysia to China. After a loss of communications and its disappearance from civilian radar, Flight 370 reappeared on military radar, having deviated from its planned flight path.
Approaching the point at which Malaysian Air Traffic Control will hand over to Vietnam. Then, Captain Zahari makes a last routine, but now infamous radio transmission.
Good night. Good night, Malaysia 370.
The disappearance has fascinated the public for years and led to several expensive searches. It seemed impossible for an entire airplane to just go missing in an age where everything can be seen by satellites. Although a few pieces have washed ashore, the bulk of the aircraft and the reason for its deviation remain unclear.
What happened to the flight has haunted the world ever since.
We're not used to planes just disappearing. If they come down, we expect to be able to find out why.
Speculations have run the gamut from a hijacking to being shot down to some kind of equipment failure.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and...
Yeah, that's... something the size of an aeroplane can't just disappear. There's got to be an explanation. I mean, you can lose a pen. You can lose your phone. You can lose your wallet. You can't lose a plane. That is weird. A plane just can't vanish without anyone knowing what happened to it. I mean, I saw in the news recently about a plane that travelled for, I think it was 13 hours and then landed where it started. Why? I mean, where did they go? Why did the pilot fly them somewhere, who knows where, to then turn around and go back to where they took off from? I mean, that was strange to me. But a plane disappearing, it's odd. It is odd. Let's find out what number 1 is.
And ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. In 1959, 9 Russian hikers were found dead in the Ural Mountains. All were severely injured, several were undressed, and they had cut their way out of their tent from the inside. Some were burned, and others slightly radioactive. Most seem to have died of hypothermia or their injuries. The case has baffled the public and authorities for over half a century. Theories include an avalanche, an animal attack, or military involvement.
This is the last photo taken by the hikers before they died. It's out of focus, but it seems to show mysterious lights in the sky.
The most plausible theory involves the group camping against a heavy snowbank, which collapsed, leading them to assume an avalanche and freezing after they escaped the tent. But unless there really was outside involvement, only the victims know the truth.
The evidence here is both extensive, yet maddeningly incomplete. And until we fill in the gaps, the case cannot be fully closed.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip.
Okay, so I can understand everything up until he said radioactive. An animal attack is not going to cause radioactivity unless the animal's radioactive. The burns, fair enough. I mean, if it's cold enough. Cutting yourself out of the tent, it could have been an avalanche. They could have been snowed in and had to cut their way out of their tent. That's perfectly plausible. But where does the radioactivity come into it? That's... Okay, yeah, there was some strange stuff in there. Not quite the sort of stuff I was expecting, but definitely strange. I think the strangest was the shoes with the feet inside. I think that was the strangest one for me. The plane, the radioactivity, at number 1 there. For the hikers, that was also strange. But I feel like the strangest had to be the feet in the shoes. Because of the fact that it's always running shoes. I mean, is there a psycho killer out there that we don't know about? Murdering runners? I don't know. Okay, that was intriguing. And I'd definitely be interested in learning more about some of those. But if there's any more unsolved mysteries out there, we definitely need to take a look at them as well. Because I wonder if any of these will ever get solved. I mean, the feet could be solved potentially. As for the radioactivity on them hikers, I don't. And the plane, definitely, I don't. If they haven't solved that now, that's never getting solved. But yeah, if there is more stuff like this out there, and you want to see me react to it, by all means, send me the link, and we'll take a look at it. If you've enjoyed the video and you're new to the channel, you know what to do, and I'll see you next time.